What's up, everyone? We're doing a wheel bearing on a 2018 Malibu. Wheel bearing on the left front, and I'm going to go ahead and replace the shield that's on there because they actually hit something and it burgered it up a little bit. So you're going to want to take off the 5 lug nuts on the outside for the wheel. They're 3/4 inch. I'm going to cheat and take this whole bracket off. Brakes will come, bracket will come. If not, you can do that. I think it's a 14 millimeter, and back here is the bolt I'm taking out. Right here's the bolt. This is how I'm cheating. Instead of taking the whole assembly piece by piece, I'm taking it all at once. Right there's a bolt, and underneath there's another bolt. You can see it loosened up, and then 2 bolts hold on this whole pack. So that, my friends, is a 13/16. This is again for a 2018 Malibu. Probably the same for a Chevy Cruze, and possibly an Equinox. Equinox, the SUV, so it may be a little bit heavier duty brakes. I don't know, but I'm sure Cruze is the same. I took them 2 out. See my anti-seize from doing brakes the other day. And hopefully this just comes off. Yeah, look at that. I'm gonna let it hang from that. Probably put a bungee cord up. I would put a bungee cord up, but that's not what I'm doing. I just did the brakes, so hopefully this comes off. Yep, that comes off. But if not, see them little holes that are different looking? There's gonna be a torque spit there. Sadly, mine went on there, so I can't tell you what size it was. Mine actually broke off, and it should be in here somewhere. Oh, maybe it came out all the way. You can tell something used to be there because it's a lot cleaner than that one. But yeah. See how thin up the bracket is. I'll be replacing that. It should have a few bins in it for air, but ours is really bad and has been rubbing right there. Nice little rub. We are going to be taking off the outer tie rod end. Actually, we're just going to be loosening this, popping this off, put it to the side. Don't move this too much because this is actually your alignment right here. So we're just going to put that to the side because this nut has to come off and this comes out because the boot is in the way of the 3 bolts. See, there's one right there, one right there, and one over here, and that boot is in the way. So we're going to be taking the outer tie rod end off, and it's an 18 millimeter. That came off easy. Make sure that this is coming off and not spinning. If not, you gotta put a wrench on that bottom. Wrench on the bottom while you do what I'm doing right now. It'll stop that from spinning. Mine just came off not long ago, but you hit that with a hammer or tap the side of that and it should pop right off. There we go. Just taking that and putting it to the side. Don't touch it. Another 18 millimeter up here on this sway bar length. You can drop it off the bottom or the top. These aren't always friendly. And mine isn't being friendly either. It's spinning the whole shaft, so I have to put a thing in the middle there. Torx. Nope. Allen key. I actually got pretty lucky. I don't know if you guys will, but it's actually a 6 millimeter Allen key, Allen wrench, not a Torx. And mine is actually coming off. It just needs to be held a little bit. I just sprayed some WD-40 on there just to loosen everything up. Went ahead and sprayed it on the 3 bolts that have to come off pretty soon. And that wheel bearing. This video I'm actually doing the wheel bearing, but it's actually, we're just replacing this shield. But I was like, hey, I'm taking the wheel bearing out anyways. I'll just make this video on doing the wheel bearing. We're not actually replacing this wheel bearing, but it is going to come off as if you were replacing it. So why not make a video on it? Taking out this center bolt for the axle shaft. It is a 32 millimeter. I'd get a 6-point. That's a 12-point. I'm going to be cheating and using the impact. Also, I do not know the right torque specs to put this back on. For some reason, I forgot the Haynes manual, which tells you all about your car. I forgot the Haynes manual, but I'm going to torque it to 150 pounds. Please don't go based off what I'm saying, but you have to torque that, and you want to torque it, or your car will fall apart. Oh, look at that. Mine pushes right in. See how that pushes in, the shaft? I'm lucky it ain't frozen. So that's going to push that way, and I can get to these 3 bolts. Let's go see what size them are. I forgot one more thing. You got to take off the lower ball joint. That bolt right there that I'm on. So that way that arm pivots down, and then this whole thing will just flop wherever it wants to. That's going to be a 13/16. So far you're kind of using the same tools. I hit it a little bit with the manpower and it popped right off. I just put a tranny in this car not that long ago, so everything's kind of still freed up. I'm gonna go ahead and take that off. I'm gonna be prying this bar right here out of the bottom of this. It's in like a socket. The bolt goes up to the bottom. I'm gonna be prying that down. Hard to show you guys, but I'm gonna be prying this down and pulling this whole mechanism out and out of the way. I guess it isn't too hard to show you. My tripod just broke the other day, so I'm kind of limited. See that? I'm trying to get that out right there. I think I need a different pry bar. I was just noticing while I had this apart, I'm still trying to get that bottom off. I think I'm actually going to lower the car, put something here so it pushes up while I pull down on that. I was like, well shoot, there's one of the bolts right there. So it's a 15 millimeter for all 3 of them bolts for the wheel bearing. This one actually took a breaker bar, meaning a really long bar for more leverage. So this is the first time they've been out, and I would say you'd probably need a breaker bar because an impact is kind of hard to get in here. You can get one in here, but I kind of like breaking them loose myself. That way I don't strip out the threads, because you strip out the head on these, whoa, we're gonna be in trouble. Go ahead and pull these out. Pull this one out, see what it looks like. Oh, I have the washer on. Oh, it looks good. Not corrosion in there. A little bit on there, but that's all right. And that washer stays on there. That looks good. We'll put some anti-seize when we put it back on there, and it'll look good. 15 millimeters. Okay, so because of editing and everything, I cannot edit out what I've already showed you guys, whether it was right or wrong, or what you want to do or not. But I think this has to come out. I think the bolt on the end of here needs to come out, the nut, because this is actually shifted back now. And I tested it earlier and I couldn't do it, but I can actually get the socket onto the lower one, and with an extension it goes right through the top of there to the other bolt. So that's all 3 of them. So I don't think the bottom one down here, lower ball joint, needs to come out, but for this to pivot and everything, this has to come off, and definitely that. And it's nice to have that move like that with that nut off, so I can do it. But you guys do it how you want to do it. At least you guys know what size of wrenches and everything you need. And yeah, 15mm right here. I'm actually gonna get a ratchet wrench. Yeah, ratchet. So hopefully you guys didn't just go out and buy a bunch of tools and then you see me doing it a little bit easier way. And also, the brake pad fell out of the caliper, so I gotta tear the whole caliper apart anyways. So doing that shortcut didn't help at all. This is taking out the lower right bolt of the wheel bearing. Oh, you have to take that nut off because the wheel bearing goes over it. Duh. Sorry guys. So the only thing you really don't have to do is this lower ball joint bolt nut. That one looks nice and clean too. Getting lucky. And then this goes clear in to this top bolt. Again, 15mm. You guys are in the way. Thanks for moving to the other side. I did have to push that way a little bit to get that socket down in there. Lining all this back up is just going to be so much fun. Okay. Just broke it loose a little bit. Seems like nothing else. Or not. Okay. There's the shield we were replacing. There's still some of that bolt on there. Get out of here. Yeah, I could use some cleanup. Actually, if you guys are watching this video, you guys are replacing this. I'm putting it back in on mine because we are replacing that shield. Go ahead and clean up that wheel bearing. This should come right off. We got that in there. And clean all this area up a little bit, that way it fits and isn't tilted a little bit. Yeah. So here's our original, and there's our new one. Has a few more dents in it on the original, but to do it while it was on this, it was so close to the bottom of here, and when you bent it here, it just wanted to go back. It's pretty stiff metal, and this is only $5, so it's easier just to change it, put a new one on. And right there was where it was rubbing super loud, making a ton of noise, and yeah, it just rub away, but then this flexes. Well, something on here flexes when you go around turns, and it's always making noise. So we're gonna go ahead and put this new one on there. You have to watch the video to see how I had that on there. And also, clean this little reservoir out in here. Really good, because that's your ABS sensor. It knows how fast your wheel's spinning. Clean all this out, make sure that weep hole is empty. And I'm gonna put some grease in here, because I seen there was already some grease on there when I tore all this apart. Going to use some thick and tacky stuff that won't turn to water. Just put a nice coat on there so it'll come out again when the wheel bearing, my wheel bearing, actually goes bad. If you're doing this video, most likely yours is roaring or you got any else like that. So we're going to want to use some anti-seize. on the bolts, so that way they come out again. And that's what I use. Just a little dab on the threads. Keeps the threads from welding themselves to the other piece of metal. I feel like I can put this whole thing back together. I get to put the shield on there. The shield was like that, I'm assuming. Was it? Where's the old shield? No. Don't watch this. I had it on there right. I just had it reversed. You want it to flare in instead of out. I'll go ahead and put that wheel bearing back in. My wheel bearing. You would be putting a new wheel bearing in. Mine feels pretty good still. Doesn't make any noises. Done. Good. Okay, got that one in. Turn this a little bit, put this one in the corner. You guys see me take it out. I don't think you guys see me put it in. Go ahead and put some anti-seize on there. That way it helps out the next person or myself. I wish I could coat the whole thing. Yes, you could. Put in this bottom right one. I'm not going to tighten it all the way because I want that last bolt. Just in case that shield isn't lining up perfect. Again, don't hang it by the caliper by the thing like I am, by the cord. Very bad. 15 millimeter. I'm sure there's a torque spec on these, but I'm going to tighten them. To hand tighten. Wow. That one's in. Now I got to tighten the other two. That's why you don't hang it by the cord. But I'm being lazy today, and it's my own car. If I break it, then I can cry to myself. Shut back in a little bit. And the anti-seize also help it, almost like GB Weld, go back into its spot. There we go. Hold the axle back out. Everything's locked in. Put that on there before I forget. and put the bolt back on for the lower ball joint, which you guys may have not had that off. I found out I didn't have to, but I told you guys you had to. Again, this is all assembly, so basically what you just tore apart you put back together, so you don't have to watch this, I guess. Go ahead and look at all your seals and all that, like I'm looking in there and seeing the trainee job I just did, the seal I replaced is leaking, so I'm gonna have to fix that, which you gotta pull this whole thing out, but I'm putting a new axle shaft in on another video. We'll do it then. Where'd that wrench go? You guys see where I put that wrench? It's crazy, that wrench just disappeared. It's not 15. We're missing a wrench. Ta-da, wrench. 18 millimeter? Yeah, 18 millimeter. This may not need help, but we're still got that 6 millimeter Allen wrench if we need it. And it needs help. Shove that in the hole. There we go. Should put anti-seize on that, because I'm actually replacing them about 6 months. This car's a tow car, so a lot of the stuff we do is preventative maintenance, because when you're driving your car it's easy to hear noises, but when you're towing a car and you're up in the vehicle that's towing this, you can't hear what's going on, and something could break and you won't even know it, and it'll destroy your car. So it's always just good to fix it before it breaks. Or if somebody borrows my car, I don't want them to be stranded somewhere. Nobody borrows my car. Now that one's spinning, so we're gonna have to put a wrench on the bottom of that. And the wrench to do that is a 5/16, which makes this very pain in the butt. I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing. So I got the wrench on the bottom of the bolt, stopping the bolt from sliding, while the 18 millimeter is up higher. Because if I don't, that whole thing just spins. Because up here is a ball. Normally a bolt has a head on one side. This does not. It's a ball, so that can pivot when you hit all your potholes, which are in every state. Okay, so we got everything done there. I did tighten the bolt down here as far as I remember. We'll tighten this back up. I'm gonna do 150 foot-pounds on that, but I would look it up. It's a CV axle. If I was you, you don't want that coming off. You also want it tight enough so that it doesn't start loosening and that go in and strip out everything. You need another new wheel bearing with that. We gotta do the brakes. Guess we gotta put that on first, don't we? That's 100 foot-pounds. That's what this does on number 1, which is for tires. Now I'll just go get something to do 150 on that. Which this will probably turn on me. Yeah, it's gonna turn on me. So I'm gonna have to have somebody shove something in there. I don't expect you to have that tool, but that tool is pretty fun. It is a 14 millimeter on these. Ah, shit. It's an easy impact. Well, that's not what you want to see when you tear your pad apart. The pad just fell off. Sadly, for the rest of this video, we're just going to put that bracket back on. Because now I got to go get brakes. Brake pads. And I might as well replace both sides. Even though they have plenty on them. Gotta figure out where I got them brake pads at. 15 millimeter, I think. Oh no, it's like a 13 something in there. If you guys want to see how this all goes together, check out my brake video, because the rest of this is probably going to be rushed later, because I had a lot to do to this car today. Tightening down. It's easier to have a ratchet wrench. Luckily, all this fell apart, and I got to see that that was a problem before it became a problem on the road. Okay, I'm going to tighten them down, do the rest of the brakes. Thanks for watching.